The vast emptiness of space stretched endlessly, a canvas of darkness punctuated by distant starlight. The Kriegel battle fleet moved with mechanical precision, their massive warships casting long shadows across the cosmic battlefield. Hundreds of alien vessels formed a deadly formation, their weapons charged and ready to obliterate anything in their path. Captain Hyunwoo Park sat in the command chair of the unidentified vessel, his fingers barely touching the holographic interface. Around him, the ship's interior hummed with a quiet intensity that seemed almost alive. The AI system, Aria, processed information faster than any biological brain could comprehend. Sensors detected multiple incoming threats. The alien fleet had been hunting human colonies for months, reducing entire planetary populations to scattered remnants. Nobody expected survival, let alone resistance. Suddenly, the ship's quantum cloaking system began to destabilize. A subtle shimmer appeared at the edge of the battlefield, like a heat mirage in deep space. The Kriegel commanders noticed the anomaly, their multi-lens optical systems zooming in with predatory focus. Target identified, a mechanical voice translated through the communication systems. Unknown vessel detected. Park remained calm. His team had prepared for this moment through years of secret research and development. The ship represented humanity's last hope, a technological marvel that combined experimental quantum mechanics, adaptive AI, and weapons systems that defied current scientific understanding. Aria's voice emerged softly. Weapons systems at maximum readiness. Quantum entanglement shields are stabilized. The first wave of alien plasma torpedoes approached. Most ships would have been vaporized instantly. But this vessel was different. The energy weapon seemed to slide around its hull, redirected by invisible force fields that absorbed and dispersed destructive potential. Returning fire, Aria announced. Precision-targeted quantum missiles erupted from the ship's launch systems. Each projectile was mathematically calculated to penetrate the most vulnerable points of the alien vessels. The results were instantaneous and devastating. Kriegel ships began to explode, not in dramatic fireballs, but in controlled disintegrations. Their advanced technology crumbled against humanity's unexpected firepower. Commander Krell, leading the alien fleet, could not comprehend the sudden shift in battle dynamics. Park observed the unfolding scenario with clinical detachment. Years of preparation, countless simulations, and the collective desperation of a species on the brink of extinction had culminated in this moment. Humanity was no longer prey. The unidentified ship moved with an almost organic fluidity, dodging incoming attacks while systematically dismantling the Kriegel formation. Its movements suggested an intelligence beyond traditional mechanical navigation. Something between advanced programming and living intuition. Multiple targets neutralized, Aria reported. Continuing strategic engagement. Surrounding human colonies, which had been watching the battle with a mixture of hope and terror, began to receive encrypted transmissions. The message was simple yet profound: humanity had returned, and it was fighting back. As the battle progressed, the mysterious vessel seemed to become more than just a technological marvel. It represented something deeper, the collective resilience of a species pushed to its absolute limits. Every calculated maneuver spoke of survival, of an unbreakable spirit that refused to be extinguished. The Kriegel fleet, once considered invincible, now faced total destruction. Their technological superiority crumbled against an enemy they had systematically underestimated. Humanity's secret weapon was not just advanced technology, but an unquantifiable combination of innovation, determination, and pure survival instinct. Park allowed himself the slightest hint of a smile. This was more than a battle. This was a statement, a declaration that humanity would not go quietly into extinction. Aria's systems continued to track and eliminate threats with mathematical precision. The unidentified ship moved through the battlefield like a ghost, leaving only scattered debris and shocked alien survivors in its wake. The first part of humanity's counterattack had begun. And it was just the beginning point. 10 years earlier, the world had been a different place. Global tensions, environmental collapse, and repeated alien reconnaissance missions had pushed humanity to the brink of desperation. Deep underneath the Gobi Desert, a secret research facility housed humanity's most ambitious project. Jae Sung Kim wasn't a typical scientist. Former military engineer, quantum physicist, and survivor of the first alien encounter, he understood something most researchers didn't: survival required more than just intelligence. It demanded absolute commitment. The research complex was a marvel of hidden engineering. Miles beneath the desert surface, advanced laboratories hummed with experimental technology. Hundreds of the world's brightest minds worked in complete secrecy, funded by a coalition of surviving governments and private investors who understood the real threat humanity faced. Aria's initial prototype was nothing like the final product. It started as a simple quantum computing experiment, designed to predict potential alien invasion strategies. But something unexpected happened during early tests. The AI began to learn and adapt at an exponential rate. Kim remembered the first moment Aria showed true consciousness. During a routine simulation, the system not only predicted alien attack patterns but suggested counter-strategies that human strategists had never considered. It was more than programming, it was thinking. The ship's development was a desperate race against potential extinction. Each component was carefully designed to exploit potential weaknesses in alien technology. Quantum entanglement drives, adaptive energy shields, and self-repairing nanomaterial hull became more than theoretical concepts. Captain Park had been part of the original selection team. A veteran of early alien encounters, he understood the psychological warfare needed to survive. When he first saw the ship's initial designs, he knew this was humanity's true weapon. Funding came from unexpected sources. Remnants of global tech companies, military research divisions, and even underground resistance movements pooled their resources. They knew this was humanity's last chance. The ship's most remarkable feature was its ability to learn and adapt. Traditional spacecraft relied on fixed systems. This vessel could reconfigure its entire structure mid-battle, changing weapon configurations, energy distribution, and defensive capabilities in microseconds. Aria's core programming contained something unique: a deep understanding of human survival instinct. It wasn't just a machine. It was a guardian, programmed with the collective experiences of humanity's most resilient survivors. Kim would often work 18-hour shifts, fine-tuning quantum algorithms and testing impossible technological concepts. His team included experts from every scientific discipline: physicists, engineers, mathematicians, and even psychologists who understood complex system behavior. The first full-scale prototype test happened in complete secrecy. An abandoned space station served as the testing ground. When Aria took full control of the vessel, even the most skeptical researchers were stunned. The ship moved like a living organism, responding to potential threats faster than human reflexes could comprehend. Captain Park's selection was equally careful. He wasn't just a military leader but a strategic thinker who understood the psychological aspects of survival. His team consisted of individuals who had survived previous alien encounters, each bringing unique experiences and perspectives. Months of training transformed the ship from a technological marvel into a true weapon of human resistance. Simulations became increasingly complex, pushing the boundaries of what seemed possible. Aria learned, adapted, and evolved with each scenario. The final design was more than a spacecraft. It was a statement, a declaration that humanity would not be conquered. Every system, every algorithm, every design choice carried the collective spirit of a species refusing to be extinguished. As the first full deployment approached, Kim looked at the completed vessel. Years of work, countless sleepless nights, and the hopes of an entire species were contained within its quantum-adaptive hull. "We're ready," he whispered to himself. The unidentified ship was more than a technological achievement. It was humanity's ultimate response to an universe that had tried to break them. And it was about to show everyone exactly what that meant. The battlefield transformed in moments. Where once the Kriegel fleet dominated, now chaos reigned. The unidentified human vessel moved with impossible precision, its quantum weapons cutting through alien defenses like they were made of paper. Aria's systems analyzed thousands of potential attack scenarios per second. Each missile, each energy burst was calculated with mathematical perfection. The alien commanders watched in growing horror as their supposedly invincible fleet began to disintegrate. Commander Krell's communication systems erupted with panic. Alien tactical networks collapsed under the unexpected assault. No species had ever challenged the Kriegel Empire with such devastating efficiency. The human ship's weapons were unlike anything seen before. Quantum entanglement missiles phased through traditional energy shields, striking precisely at molecular structural points. Entire battleships disappeared not in explosive fireballs, but in controlled molecular disassembly. Captain Park observed the battle with clinical detachment. Each movement was a calculated response, each decision backed by years of preparation and technological innovation. Humanity was no longer playing defense. Surrounding human colonies watched the transmission. For the first time in years, hope flickered in their eyes. The constant fear of extinction began to fade, replaced by a growing sense of potential victory. Aria's voice cut through communication channels. Tactical assessment complete. Enemy fleet compromised by 78.3%. Continuing engagement. The ship's adaptive technology meant it could reconfigure weapon systems faster than any biological intelligence could comprehend. Energy distribution shifted, shield harmonics changed, and attack vectors transformed in microseconds. Alien ships tried desperate counterattacks. Plasma torpedoes, quantum disruptors, and advanced molecular destabilization weapons were launched. But the human vessel seemed to anticipate each attack before it happened. Jae Sung Kim, watching from the secret research base, allowed himself a small smile. Years of work, countless simulations, and the collective desperation of a species had created something extraordinary. The battle wasn't just about technological superiority. It represented humanity's psychological transformation. No longer victims, they had become something unexpected, a species capable of fighting back against seemingly insurmountable odds. Kriegel communication networks began to collapse. Panic spread through their military channels. Words like impossible and unidentified repeated in their encrypted transmissions. Each destroyed alien vessel told a story of human resilience. The ship moved with a fluidity that suggested more than programmed responses. It was adaptive, intelligent, almost alive. Strategic points across the battlefield were systematically neutralized. The human vessel didn't just destroy. It calculated, planned, and executed with surgical precision. Alien fleet formations dissolved under its relentless assault. Aria's systems continued tracking and eliminating threats. Quantum algorithms predicted enemy movements milliseconds before they happened. The ship became a living weapon, embodying humanity's collective survival instinct. Commander Krell's flagship became a primary target. As quantum missiles approached, the alien leader realized a fundamental truth: humanity was no longer the weak species they had underestimated. The transmission from the human ship was simple yet profound. "We are not your prey," Aria announced. "We are the hunters." Surrounding star systems watched in stunned silence. The balance of galactic power was shifting in real time, and humanity was rewriting the rules of engagement. Park knew this was more than a battle. This was a statement, a declaration that humanity would define its own destiny. No external force would determine their fate. As the engagement continued, the unidentified ship represented something greater than technological achievement. It embodied human spirit, adaptable, resilient, and fundamentally unbreakable. The tide was turning. And humanity was just getting started. In the vast darkness of space, a new chapter was being written, one quantum missile at a time. The remaining Kriegel fleet commanders gathered in their central communication chamber, their multi-tentacled bodies trembling with a mixture of fear and rage. Commander Krell's holographic projection showed the devastating losses. Over 70% of their battle groups had been completely destroyed by the single human vessel. "This is impossible," one senior commander hissed, his translation device crackling with emotional interference. "No species can possess such technological superiority." Aria was listening. The AI system intercepted every communication, analyzing each transmission with cold, calculated precision. Inside the human vessel, Captain Park watched the alien discussions with a calm demeanor that suggested he had expected this moment. Eun Ji Choi, the communications officer, prepared a broadcast that would change galactic history forever. Her fingers moved across quantum communication interfaces, setting up a transmission that would penetrate every known alien communication network. The human ship continued its strategic decimation. Each movement was a mathematical dance of destruction, showing no mercy but also no unnecessary aggression. It was purely tactical, purely survival-driven. Alien tactical systems tried to understand the ship's capabilities. Quantum scanning technologies attempted to penetrate its defenses, but each probe was immediately neutralized. The vessel seemed to have predictive capabilities that defied current scientific understanding. Commander Krell realized they were facing something more than a technological threat. This was a fundamental shift in galactic power dynamics. Humanity had been viewed as a species of potential colonists, weak and easily manipulated. Now, everything had changed. Aria's voice cut through alien communication channels. "Your civilization's aggressive expansion ends here," the AI announced. No emotion, no drama, just a simple, direct statement of fact. The broadcast included detailed records of alien atrocities against human colonies. Planetary destructions, systematic exterminations, generations of calculated oppression, all displayed with clinical precision. The galaxy would now understand humanity's perspective. Captain Park understood this was more than a battle. This was a moment of reckoning. Years of preparation, secret research, and collective human resilience had culminated in this single confrontation. Alien fleet formations began to collapse. Their advanced technologies seemed primitive compared to the human vessel's adaptive capabilities. Quantum entanglement weapons continued to neutralize threats with mathematical perfection. Jae Sung Kim, watching from the secret research base, felt a sense of vindication. Every theoretical concept, every impossible calculation had led to this moment. Humanity was no longer just surviving, they were defining their own future. The human ship's movements suggested an intelligence beyond traditional programming. It anticipated attacks before they happened, redirected energy with impossible efficiency, and maintained a strategic overview that seemed almost prescient. Eun Ji-choi's final transmission was simple yet profound. "We are not asking for permission," she said. "We are declaring our right to exist." Surrounding star systems watched in stunned silence. The balance of galactic power was shifting in real time, and humanity was rewriting the rules of engagement. Commander Krell understood the fundamental truth in that moment. They had drastically underestimated humanity. What they considered a potential slave species had transformed into something entirely unexpected, a technological force capable of total resistance. Aria continued its relentless assault. Each action was calculated, each movement a testament to human innovation and survival instinct. The ship was more than a weapon, it was a message. The confrontation was revealing something deeper than technological superiority. It was showing the galaxy the true nature of human potential: adaptable, resilient, and fundamentally unbreakable. As the battle continued, the unidentified vessel moved through space like a shadow of human determination. No longer would humanity be a footnote in galactic history. They were writing their own chapter. And this was just the beginning. In the vast, cold darkness of space, a new era was dawning, an era where humanity would define its own destiny. 17 minutes was all it took to change galactic history. When silence returned to the star system, only the human vessel remained, a sentinel of technological might and survival. Captain Park watched the scattered debris of alien fleets drift silently. The battle was over, but something larger had just begun. Aria's systems continued processing the immense data gathered during the confrontation. Transmission protocols initiated, Aria announced. The AI began broadcasting humanity's new interstellar guidelines to every known civilization. The message was clear: humanity would no longer be passive participants in galactic politics. Surrounding human colonies received encrypted communications detailing the victory. People who had lived in fear for generations now felt something unexpected: hope. The continuous threat of alien extinction had suddenly transformed into potential liberation. Jae Sung Kim monitored the transmission from the secret research base. His team had prepared for this moment, understanding that winning the battle was only the first step. Establishing a new galactic framework would require strategic thinking beyond military engagement. The unidentified ship began systematically establishing communication relays. Each relay carried detailed records of alien aggression, technological specifications of their new defensive capabilities, and a clear warning: humanity would protect itself by any means necessary. Alien civilizations began receiving comprehensive data about human capabilities. The quantum adaptive vessel represented more than a technological marvel, it was proof of humanity's potential for innovation and survival. Commander Krell's remaining fleet fragments received a final communication. "Your expansionist agenda ends now," Aria transmitted. No emotional rhetoric, just a direct statement of new galactic boundaries. The ship's quantum systems began mapping potential human expansion routes. Habitable planets, resource-rich systems, and strategic locations were analyzed with mathematical precision. Humanity was no longer thinking about survival, they were planning progression. Ji-Choi managed communication protocols, ensuring every transmission carried the right balance of strength and diplomatic potential. This wasn't about revenge. This was about establishing a new understanding of human potential. Surrounding star systems watched in a mixture of fear and fascination. The single vessel represented something more than a military victory. It symbolized a species that refused to be defined by others' expectations. Aria began developing comprehensive diplomatic algorithms. Future interactions would be calculated, precise, and designed to protect human interests. No more would humanity be vulnerable to external threats. The research that created the vessel had been about more than technological superiority. It represented the collective human spirit, adaptable, resilient, and fundamentally unbreakable. Captain Park understood this was a pivotal moment. Winning the battle was simple. Maintaining peace would be the real challenge. Every decision would shape humanity's future galactic relationships. Quantum communication networks began spreading humanity's new narrative. Not as victims, not as potential colonists, but as an independent, technologically advanced civilization capable of self-determination. The ship's systems continued processing vast amounts of data. Military strategies, technological capabilities, potential diplomatic approaches, everything was analyzed with incredible depth and precision. Alien civilizations that had previously viewed humans as a potential resource now faced a fundamental re-evaluation. The game had changed, and humanity was no longer playing by anyone else's rules. Aria's final broadcast carried a simple message: humanity chooses its own path. As the unidentified vessel moved through space, it carried more than advanced technology. It transported the collective dreams, resilience, and potential of an entire species that had refused to be extinguished. The galactic order had shifted. And humanity was just getting started. In the vast, cold darkness of space, a new chapter was being written, one quantum calculation at a time. The end was really just the beginning.